Honorable Speaker, sir, on the sacred occasion of Magh Purnima and the birth anniversary of Guru Ravidas, I present the budget for the year 2026-2027.
A budget is not just about numbers or government spending. It shapes the economy, influences the market, and also affects our day-to-day financial life in many ways. In this video, I, Suhas, going to focus on 4 important areas. 1. Overall outlook of the budget. 2. Sectoral focus. 3. Investment approaches. 4. Taxation changes. This year budget continues the India's long-term growth story by strengthening the 2 major aspects. 1. Sustained public investments. 2. Improving fiscal discipline.
We've announced that 12.2 lakh crores are coming through public expenditure this time.
ये बजट 2047 के विकसित भारत की हमारी ऊंची उड़ान का मजबूत आधार है.
It is 4.4% of the GDP. No increment in capital expenditure, sustained fashion has happened ever before.
The government has announced a total expenditure of 53.47 lakh crore. Out of this, 12.22 lakh crore has been allocated towards capital expenditure. When we compare this with the last year, it was rupees 11.22 lakh crore. It clearly shows that the infrastructure development continues to be the major focus of the government. This increased spending is mainly directed towards building roads, railways, urban infrastructure and industrial corridors. Now, when investment happens in these areas, will not impact only on the infrastructure development. It also flows in the different sectors of the economy. Sectors such as capital goods, cement, construction, logistics, defense manufacturing and industrial parks are going to get direct benefit from this push. At the same time, this infrastructure development will also multiplier effect on couple of things. 1. Employment, 2. Consumption. So this level of spending will create a strong impact on industrial growth and a strong foundation for future long-term economic growth. Now I move to the second major aspect of the budget, fiscal discipline.
One of the main operational instruments for debt targeting is the fiscal deficit. I am happy to inform this august House that I fulfilled my commitment made in 2021-2022 to reduce fiscal deficit below 4.5% of GDP by 25-26.
Over the last few years, the government has been focusing on gradually reducing the fiscal deficit. And this year, it has successfully achieved its target of bringing it below 4.5% of GDP. Fiscal deficit is currently stands at 4.4% of GDP and is further projected to decline to 4.3% in the coming period. This shows the strong commitment of the government to maintain the macroeconomic stability. Maintaining the fiscal discipline will help to control the borrowings and keep interest rate and inflation stable over the period of time.
एक ऐसा यूनिक बजट है जिसमें फिस्कल डेफिसिट कम करने, इन्फ्लेशन कंट्रोल करने पर फोकस है और इसके साथ ही बजट में हाई कैपेक्स और हाई ग्रोथ का भी समन्वय है.
From an investment perspective, this is an important positive. A stable fiscal environment supports long-term equity markets because it reduces the chance of sudden interest rate shocks and economic disruption. It also improves the confidence of the investors both domestically and globally and also helps to sustainable inflow of the capital into the market. If I look at this budget in a long-term investor perspective, The sectoral allocation is giving a clear message where India is heading towards.
Biopharma Shakti Mission,
So 10,000 crore initiative again over five years for domestic biologics and biosimilar production.
Semiconductor Mission 2.0, Electronic Component Manufacturing Scheme,
40,000 crores. It's a major encouragement for electronics to become self-sufficient.
रेयर अर्थ कॉरिडोर का निर्माण, चैंपियन एमएसएमईज तैयार करना.
Even more important is the champion MSMEs. The equity support is supported by a 10,000 crore SME fund. Above all, we are also topping up the Self-Reliant India Fund with 2,000 crores. City economic regions, yes, 1,000 crore per year per city is being given, and the emphasis is going to be largely on tier 2, tier 3 cities.
There is a noticeable push towards areas like energy transition, semiconductor and electronic manufacturing, MSME support, skill development, healthcare and urban housing. These are not just the short-term measures. These are well-planned long-term investments which aims three areas. 1. Improving productivity. 2. Strengthening manufacturing competitiveness. 3. Building strong human capital for the future. Another important thing is the increased transfer of funds to the states and a higher spending of urban infrastructure. When states receive greater support, it naturally accelerates local development and create wider opportunity for private sector participation. For an investor, this is a reminder that when a country is consistently building for the future, the strong outcome usually come from staying disciplined and investing across the market cycle. Because in a country that is steadily progressing, the best outcome will come when we plan well, live better. So the major question that comes up now is, what should be the investment approach? If one look at the economic survey which was released before the budget, it clearly highlights that Indian financial landscape is undergoing a structural shift. Households are increasingly moving towards equity, mutual funds and pension products as key avenues for long-term wealth creation. It is important to focus on the broader direction of the economy and understand whether the country is moving towards growth or not. From that perspective, India has a strong fundamental which supports the long-term growth. But in the short term, it is very difficult to predict the market because it is mainly influenced by the investor sentiments. Any change at the macro or micro level of the economy can influence the market in the short term. But when viewed over the long term, India's growth story still holds strong potential. The investment decision should always align with our personal goals and aspirations rather than short-term market influences. Larger message for the personal finance is quite clear. Wealth creation will depend more on disciplined long-term investing, stronger retirement planning and building savings buffers that can help manage inflation and unexpected economic challenges. In this budget, the government has tried to make the taxes very simple. Let's start with something which many families will worry about. Sending money to abroad for children's education or any medical treatment.
I propose to reduce TCS rate for pursuing education and for medical purposes under the Liberalized Remittance Scheme, popularly known as LRS, from 5% to 2%.
Earlier, the government used to collect 5% TCS upfront, which means a big chunk of money got blocked and people had to wait for refunds. Now, this has been reduced to just 2%. And the same flat 2% TCS now applies to overseas tour packages as well. Also, the earlier monetary threshold has been removed. So the whole process becomes more clearer and easier for the travelers. Another big relief comes for motor accident victims.
propose that any interest awarded by the Motor Accident Claims Tribunal to a natural person will be exempt from income tax, and any TDS on this account will be done away with.
Till now, while the compensation amount was tax-free, the interest on the compensation was treated as taxable, and issuers would deduct TDS. Many victims are forced to file the returns just because to claim the refunds. That changes now. From 1st April 2026, interest awarded by Motor Accident Claims Tribunal to an individual will be completely tax-free and no TDS will be deducted at all. This is a very human and practical step. The government also made life easier for senior citizens and small investors by fixing a long-standing problem with Form 15G and 15H. Earlier, these forms had to be submitted separately to every bank, company or registrar. Missing even one would lead to unnecessary TDS and refund claims. But now, this budget introduces a single window system. You submit Form 15G or 15H once and it gets electronically shared with all relevant deductors. Less paperwork, fewer mistakes and no tax deductions. There is more relief on compliance side too. Now get more time to file or revise the returns up to 31st March, and there are separate due dates for different categories of taxpayers, which makes the process more realistic. Even if a tax dispute is already going on, people can now correct their returns by paying a small additional tax instead of getting stuck in a long legal battle. For those who are dealing with NRI property transaction, there is a good news. Earlier, when an NRI sold property in India, the buyer had to deposit TDS using a separate TAN, which added compliance complexity. Now, the resident buyer can deposit TDS directly using their own PAN, simplifying the process, reducing the paperwork and making TDS compliance easier for both buyers and sellers. NRIs are allowed to invest directly in Indian shares through the portfolio investment scheme. And for SGB investors, there is a reminder. The tax-free return on SGB will only apply if you buy them at issue and hold them till maturity. Investors purchasing SGB in the secondary market will be liable to pay the capital gain tax at 12.5% upon the redemption. So if we look at this budget in a broader perspective, it clearly focuses on supporting India's long-term growth, simplifying the regulations and reducing unnecessary hassles for the common people. That's all from my side. If you would like to share any thoughts or you have any questions or you need any guidance, please feel free to reach out us. Thank you for watching.